The blurb for BadAss Volume 1 starts by saying, if Kick Ass and Deadpool had a baby, it would be BadAss. Now those sort of comparisons tend to worry me a bit because they rarely promise much more than an attempt to cash in on the popularity of established titles.
But at least every new comic is partially inspired by others. So let's see what new stuff BadAss brings to the table. The storyline jumps back and forward in time, showing the unhappy life of a high school boy named Jack Parks, alongside the chaotic escapades of the supercriminal Jack will later become, known as Dead End.
You have to imagine that the high school sections are there to build some empathy for Jack, showing the relentless bullying, horrible luck, and general lack of aptitude at everything that he endures. Unfortunately, that empathy's hindered by the fact that Jack is clearly pretty unpleasant, even as a child.
When getting hit by a car somehow gifts Jack with superhuman good luck, along with the ability to be perfect at everything he tries to do, as well as being suddenly handsome, he decides that the best thing to do with his new abilities is to seek revenge on the entire world.
And there really isn't a lot more to it than that. Dead End's hedonistic rampage takes him from killing high school kids to killing superheroes and supervillains alike, with the character analogues being anything but subtle.
They're intentionally blatant, I think. He starts off by facing a Batman clone called Black Snake and his criminal girlfriend Amadeus Kitty, who is basically Catwoman, but with a confusingly overlaid Mozart obsession.
Far from Kick-Ass meets Deadpool, I think a more accurate comparison would be Mark Millar's Wanted and Garth Ennis's The Boys, with their hyper-violence and deconstruction of American superheroes.
True, but BadAss doesn't bring anything new to the table, seemingly retreading the same ground, but without the shock value or humour that its predecessors made effective.
Yeah, but where Eric Hanna's writing left me cold, I was actually kind of impressed by Bruno Basardi's artwork. There's an energy and abandon to his style, especially in the action scenes, that I enjoyed separately from the story.
The visuals are at best in those action scenes, of which there are plenty, and I have to agree that when things are getting really chaotic, Basardi still manages to keep a sense of cause and effect that leads your eye through the mayhem.
In the end, though, the artwork doesn't make up for a story that falls short of being either clever or funny, and thanks to scenes like its comic take on a high school massacre, was sometimes kind of offensive, so I'm gonna give this one a berry.
Well, I do agree that there's not much new in terms of story. I still think that there's a fan base who will appreciate it. I mean, sometimes you just want to see a superhero get his ass handed to him, and Dead End looks pretty cool doing it, so I'm giving it a borrow.